water has always been weaponized. Already in 2011, over 95% of Gaza's water was reported unsafe to drink. Since 1948, we have seen water's weaponization in the occupied Palestinian territories, which I will refer to as the OPT from now on. And we can look at both access to water in terms of groundwater and aquifers and actual water in the land and who has access to these sources of water. And then we can also look at usage of water. For example, the amount of water that, in a direct comparison, Israelis versus Palestinians, what they are able to access in a day. And the numbers are pretty staggering. Less than a third of what is recommended by the World Health Organization was able to be accessed by Palestinians in certain jurisdictions. Water has always been weaponized. For example, in the most recent onslaught and bombardment of Gaza, we can see how water, as well as electricity and other resources that are in many circles accepted as condign human rights, were limited, and basic services are then inaccessible to large percentages of the population. Already in 2011, over 95% of Gaza's water was reported unsafe to drink. And now we have reports of places in the West Bank where water is getting shut off, where 87% of all irrigated land, so water passing through farmland and such, all of this land in the West Bank was already removed from Palestinian hands between 1967 and 1974. It can't be understated how inhumane the access, not just of water, but to other human rights are now in the occupied Palestinian territories, Gaza in particular. For comparison, I'm going to just look at data from Israel in 2015. 100% of the Israeli population had access to integrated water sources, which that means wastewater is being recycled, farming and agriculture has access to water. And basically, if you look at the mountain aquifer and the Jordan River that provides water for the region, the lower Jordan River has only 2% of its natural flow and was mostly sewage as early as 2011. Again, this is over a decade ago. Many of the wastewater in the occupied West Bank, most of the wastewater flows into Israel and then is treated and reused in the agricultural sector in Israel without being reallocated to Palestinians. So pretty much no construction is allowed in terms of the water and sanitation sector in the occupied Palestinian territories without Israeli approval, which means that any sort of construction of wells, even collecting rainwater, this is made illegal. And because of this, there is very little integration of water. There is very little sewage treatment. There is very little access to clean water in the first place that could be reused. Because of the asymmetrical governments, because of the apartheid reality of Israel's interference in Palestine and the military's control over Palestinian water resources, there is more than inadequate access. It's hard to say without resorting to really depressing terms, but I use the word dire. The water situation in the region is dire.